Today I'm going to talk you through the first 4 modules that you're going to take in the first semester. So that's from starting university till Christmas. And I'm going to go through just some different topics in each module and how best to prepare for them. My background is that I've done computing at GCSE and A-level, but only maths at GCSE, and we'll come on to that point later. But the main point I want to make is that everyone coming to university is at different levels, and the university's main goal in semester 1 and 2 is to bring everyone up to the same page. So let's move on to the first module that you take, which is Computing Fundamentals. It's quite a broad module. It covers a lot of different topics. You'll do networking, so how computers talk to each other, information retrieval and internet searching, so how Google best shows results to you, and HTML and CSS. And the best part about this module I found that was you get to create a group project with HTML and CSS. And so my group coursework project was creating this website. So every group had to pick a topic about the history of computing. So our group chose the history of consoles, and we first set about creating our homepage all together as a group, determining what font we want to use, what colors we want to use, and working out the sort of finer details like that. And so we generated this page, which has just an introduction to each of our topics, and then we each created our own individual page, which is what these buttons link to here. And it was a really fun project. You got to learn a little bit about consoles, about the history of where they came from, but also using that knowledge and HTML and CSS to create a website altogether. I thought it was really cool. So one of the things I'd recommend to do over the summer is to learn a bit of HTML and CSS. There's a great resource, w3schools.com. It goes through basic introduction to HTML and CSS, and then gives you examples to test your knowledge as well. It's really good resource. The next module, Programming Fundamentals, is all about learning a programming language. The first programming language that the university will teach you is Python. Personally, I had done this before at GCSE and A-level, so the first few weeks were relatively simple and easy, but quite quickly it does build up and gets to topics that I never even touched in GCSE and A-level, which was really helpful for me. But if you've never learned a programming language before, Python's a really great start. By the first couple of weeks, you'll be able to create a simple program such as this temperature converter. So this is a little program that you'll be able to produce within the first 2 to 3 weeks. You simply enter temperature in Fahrenheit, so let's say 47, and it comes back with the temperature in Celsius, which I think is really cool. And the people that hadn't done a programming language before were able to pick this up, and as you can see, in 3 lines of code, you've got your own temperature converter, which I just think is really cool. It just lives like that, and you've got a temperature converter, so yeah. If you've never learned Python before and you want to start, learnpython.org is really helpful. It goes over a basic introduction to Python, about how the language works, and it splits up into modules like this. You will go through all this in the module itself, but if you wanted to get a little head start, this is a great place to start. So for example, in the Hello World module, you can see that it explains a little bit about the start of Python and how the sort of printing a string, which is just some letters. So you can click run, and this line gets printed in the shell over here. And then at the very bottom, it will test your knowledge in an exercise. And here it wants to change the output to Hello World. So we can just write Hello World like that. And then we'll click run. And then it will come up with the correct answer in the box. And it will say, yes, well done, you've done it. So this is a great way to start learning Python if you've never done it already. If you do feel confident, though, like I did when coming into university, you can look at object-oriented programming, which is something I'd never looked at before. So yeah, you can find this linked in the slides or after. I think they'll be available somewhere for you. So the third module, Mathematic Fundamentals, my biggest point is not to fret about it. I was really nervous about going into this module. I thought it'd be really difficult, thought I wouldn't understand it, I'd never get it, and it would be really painful to get through. But it was actually fine, and it turned out to be one of my favourite modules by the end of it. So I'd just like to put that out there and go, from whatever background you've come from, it's fine, it's okay, you'll get through it, you'll do well. And there's people like Victoria, who we'll meet later, helps you along the process with the lecturer. There's weekly meetings that can help you get through it, and there is extra support available for you there. So don't fret about it. If you did want to prepare for it though, there's a great resource here, and the topics I would focus on is sets, relations and functions, because they will set you up later when you come to other modules, they're really useful if you can nail them really early on. So that's what I'd like to say about mathematical fundamentals. It is a really fun topic. I did really enjoy it by the end of it, which is something I never thought I'd be saying this today. So yeah, we'll move on to the final topic, which is computer architecture. This is the module that Roy teaches. It's a really fun module. I found it really interesting. It's all about computer architecture, basically. So how processors handle data from memory and process simple calculations such as add and subtract. And by the end of the module, you'll be able to understand this data path here, which you can trace the data flow for different instructions and things like that. It's really interesting. It's also really relevant. You're learning about MIPS and ARM processors, which are used in graphics processors. And you can see the picture down here is Apple's latest ARM-based M1 processor. So it is a really relevant topic today as well. If you wanted a little play around with computer architecture, there's a good resource here, Little Man Computer. We can open that here, which shows you the processor, and RAM, which is the memory which programs and data is stored in. So you can select a different program here. So I'm going to select add. It'll load in the assembly code, which we'll learn about in the module, and we can click run and see the data path of the instructions coming in and out of memory to the processor. We'll just speed up a bit. It's asking for an input. I'll input 5. You can see the data flow go. It's quite complicated just for a simple addition, which is something you'll learn very quickly on. And then the output should appear up here when it's finished processing. There we go, 12. And it'll set itself up for the next instruction. So if you want a little play around, you can edit this code and everything as well. If you want to create your own programs, it's a really cool little tool online. So that is computer architecture, another really good topic to start your university journey. So my 3 top tips: learn some Python, learn some HTML, CSS, and don't fret about maths.